Caution, this is rated D20 for full frontal nudity. It contains violence, language, innuendo, wizards, random encounters, and dragons. As such, it is not intended for people under the age of 13. You have been warned. Thank you.
How's it going? How you guys doing today? Carver Night Dreamer here. And happy to see you guys again. How's everybody doing this wonderful, wonderful Friday afternoon? Hope everyone is safe, secure, not locked up in any institution that they shouldn't be locked up in. All right. So, before we get started today, I want to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that's been going on around here. As we all know, it's coronavirus. Okay? All the stuff that's been going on. There's a lot of people out still. A lot. Up in the area I'm in, yeah, we don't have a very large amount of cases, but that's yet. Okay? And they say essential services. They mean essential. All right? You know, essential means, of course, your police, fire, your medical profession. Those are essential. The individuals who are running the grocery stores. Understandable. That's essential. Okay? The individuals that are running all of the pharmacies. It's essential. Thrift stores are not essential. Okay? Those are not essential. I had to go out to go get my medication yesterday. I drove past 3 thrift stores and they were slammed. They were literally packed with people. Now, 2 of these, I know for a fact, don't sell all that much. Okay? They don't really sell all that much. So, you know, I'm kind of wondering, what are you people doing out? Pardon me. Because I stopped off at the Dollar General, and okay, Dollar General, I consider that essential. That's, in and out, grab quick stuff. Okay, that's just like, your Safeway, your Kroger's, your Albertsons, your, whatever, your grocery stores, Walmarts, things of that nature. That's in and out, grab stuff real quick. The Dollar Generals, the way I view those are like your 15 to 20 minute in and outs. Okay? At most. I was in there about 10 minutes. I had about 6 items. It took I literally walked in, grabbed the items, and got in line. And it usually would have took me about 3 minutes to get out. The lady in front of me had a pillow. Okay? It was the one in front of her that was giving us a hard time because she decided that she needed to buy like 6 things of diaper, rash cream, 5 of the diaper wipes, and they had to tell her, ma'am, we can't sell you that many, and she threw a fit. So they had to open up another register to get the people that were behind her out. So meanwhile, this lady was throwing a fit. There was like a grand total of like 13 people. Okay? We're supposed to be keeping a 6-foot space between us. That line was huge. All because of one person. If she would have just got in, grabbed a few things, and got out like she was supposed to do, boom, 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 in and out. Thing is, listen here, people. People are dying. Okay? Even if you think it's just the flu, people die from the flu. Okay? Every year, people do die from the flu. If you're sick, you think you're sick, stay the hell home. Okay? This virus is nothing to be scoffed at. Alright? And the simple fact that there are people instituting some seriously next level laws around it. In Singapore right now, they've got a new law going into effect that it's like 30 days in jail and a $10,000 fine or something like that for anyone caught out. Now, that's Singapore, but I wouldn't put it past some members of our government to do that to us. Okay? Alright. So, now, on to my 2 cents. We've had some interesting things going on the last couple of days. In that time frame, we have seen some rumors, some things have happened. We've seen the last episode of the season of Star Trek Picard, and it was that's the best way I can put it. It was garbage. All right. Basically, it boldly went where nobody wanted it to. That's the best way that I can put it. Okay, the entire series. You know, Star Trek used to be a vision of an optimistic future where there was a world of hope and where we have eliminated hunger, want, and the need for possessions. We had grown out of our infancy. That was something that was said during one of the episodes in The Next Generation. Cut to 30 years later when Sir Patrick Stewart has come back to his grand return to the role at the age of 79, mind you. And it looks like the world has not really progressed as much as we were led to believe. No. It's this whole thing was set during a time in which the Federation, which we all know is a union of planets which share democratic values and interests, has turned isolationist in response to a terror attack. and it's turned to be devisively dark, gritty, morally bleak. It's what it's turned into, you know. In one of the scenes, one of the Starfleet Apples tells Picard, the great heroic Captain Picard, a man whose voice is built like a beautiful cathedral, to literally shut the fuck up. It's literally what was said to the man. Now, the reaction to this entire thing has understandably been mixed. Some people like it, some people don't like it. I'm one of the ones I don't like it. I have voiced this countless times. Okay? Though some fans welcome Star Trek being brought up to date with the look and feel of contemporary television. Others, they want Star Trek to be Star Trek, the way it used to be. The showrunner, Michael Chabon, who I will get into later on with some of the stuff he's done, responding to questions via his Instagram page, who defended the series, said that shadow defines light. Okay? No, if nothing can rock the Federation's perfection, then it's just a magical land. That was the point. It was supposed to be a fictional something we could attain this. We could be this. This is what we could be. If we get over ourselves, this is what we could be. That's what it was supposed to be. But no, can't have that. You know, the sentiment that was echoed in Kurtzman's Discovery, I voiced my blah. With that one, it's a violent, profane, and dark, just blah, reflection of the time. You know, we live in an age defined by the post-truth possibilities of social media and uncertain future of automation, rising inequality, increasing right-wing populism, and the specter of climate change, and of course the fact that we are living through a pandemic with the potential to be the most significant and traumatic period of our history since the Second World War. Okay? Picard certainly reflects many of these concerns. You know, it is little wonder that some of the most popular science fiction TV of the last 20 years, like the technophobia of Black Mirror and the post 9/11 anxieties of Battlestar Galactica, not exactly enthused about the future, okay? I can understand where that's coming from. But the idea that the whole grittiness of the shows like Picard to make it mature and relevant when you've got the ethos of the Star Trek of yesteryear, they're saying it's naive or too old-fashioned. It feels misjudged. The hope and optimism and sincerity of the original series was in itself a radical act. A way of portraying the future as it should be. It was a multiracial cast in a time of civil rights struggle, peace and cooperation in a time of nuclear terror, rather than merely wallowing in things that they were. Okay? Now, Yes, in the 90s, they had the darker spinoff. They had DS9. You know, the Deep Space Nine, which did preempt Picard's theme by 27 years. You know, like asking what happens when the principles of the Federations were compromised by war. But the difference was that the DS9, like the rest of Star Trek, managed to balance its themes of PTSD, faith, and wartime atrocities with episodes where everyone got together. Okay? They managed to balance that. You know, that is what's more than anything else is what's fundamentally lacking from the modern Star Trek stuff. Its sense of tonal texture, a spirit of curiosity about different worlds and cultures, and the crackling chemistry of a warm and interesting crew. Instead, with Picard, that all the characters are just broad stroke, everyone's a badass, or they're all just cold, unlikable. Like Raffi, the new character, is just this wisecracking ex-Starfleet officer who refuses to call Picard Jean-Luc, refers to him as JL, and is constantly seen vaping or smoking space meth. Basically, this whole thing, the focus of Picard and Discovery, they, instead of being this whole broad soap opera style showing the whole, all the world around, the whole broad everything around it, they've narrowed everything down to make everything feel small, less alive, and less interesting. Everything is just all packed just into this one little bitty area. And it's all just balled up. You know, we're all confined. We're all in this one little area. We're all just right here. But, you know, that we still have that appetite for the bygone era of Star Trek storytelling. We still want that. Those of us from the old times and the ones from the new one. Because they still have that. We still have that type of storytelling. The Seth MacFarlane, he has the Orville. He does that Star Trek style sci-fi. It's kind of itself like a Trojan horse at times. Sincere Star Trek Next Generation fan fiction. You know, where MacFarlane himself cosplays as a captain. It's based around Roddenberry's ethos of exploration and optimism. And the episodes are written and directed by the 90s Star Trek writers and directors. Even Jonathan Frakes has done some directing for the Orville. You know, and right now, as all of us, are now in our homes, we're a fear of a threat that we cannot see. When we want a dose of optimism about a future that would be brighter and more grand than ourselves and better than what we've got, what we are being handed is a Star Trek that doesn't feel like Star Trek. You know, or a dodgy cover band playing the greatest hits. You know, It's a really sad fate for a once great franchise. Honestly. The last episode, they ripped off at least 3 video games that I could see. Mass Effect 3 for definite. Fallout 4 most definitely. Two or three different franchises of different shows. And Picard was a second-hand character in his own series. They didn't even allow him to say his own catchphrase. They beat the man over the head, dogged him throughout all of this. Bad, you're a man, you're a bad man, you're a bad old white man, bad, bad, bad. Shut the hell up, sheer fucking hubris. Ba, ba, bum. Very last episode, the main woman tells him, make it so. Then his illness, which we all who have been watching it for a long time, suddenly makes a turn for the worse. Suddenly. Yeah, suddenly. Makes a turn for the worse. And he dies. And then they go through scene after scene of some of the worst overacting crying I have ever seen in anything. Literally, I have seen soap opera actresses cry better. All right? But luckily, there just happens to be a synthetic, an android, that they can download his essence, his memories into. So they made Picard into an android. He is a synthetic life form now. But don't worry, he's still an old man with a lifespan, so to speak. Yeah. But now he gets to experience what it's like to be on the receiving end of hatred and oppression for being a synthetic life form. But don't worry, the Federation, or the Brotherhood of Steel, or whatever else it is that you want to call them, has lifted the ban on synths. Because they're so nice. But yeah, don't worry, everyone's going to play nice now. Yeah, right. If there is going to be a season 2, which you know they're going to find some way to ram this down our throats, ram a season 2 down our throats, I really don't think they're going to get much viewership. I really don't. They always say, oh, well, people hated DS9. Well, yeah, at first. But it had a story. People hated Voyager. Yeah, people did hate Voyager. Then they realized where they were going wrong, and they fixed it. And then it got really, really good. And then the ending was kind of but it was still good, okay? I still kind of liked it. Enterprise, I didn't. Enterprise was all right. I didn't like the ending. I thought the ending was dumb. I really did. That ending was dumb. It deserved a better ending. It really did. But that's neither here nor there. Okay? Anyway, if you plan on going and seeing this entire series, I would suggest waiting. Honestly, they've got STD has got another season. It's going to be the last season. They've lost so much money on it. The investors are like, we're done. This one is losing money. It's losing money. Viewership dropped so much from the first episode. They're tired of it. I think it's just going to go downhill. Honestly, if you haven't watched any of it, don't subject yourself to it. Just love the old Trek. Just like with Doctor Who, if you anything past the 11th Doctor, don't watch. Honestly, really don't watch. Star Wars, I honestly do not subject yourself to anything past, honestly, Force Awakens. I really barely would say Force Awakens, but don't subject yourself to anything past Force Awakens. Mandalorian, watch Mandalorian. That's good. Worth it. That one's worth it. A Clone Wars cartoon series, yeah, watch that. That's good. The movies, don't go past Force Awakens. Trust me. You're in for a headache. Now, as far as let's go into the next thing. Rumors and reveals. Alright, rumors. Now, these are our rumors from Bounding into Comics. If you haven't gone and checked them out, I would highly recommend that you go and check them out. Really good website, really good guys. They're pretty run down the middle type of people. They don't swing left or right too hard. They're just good news type worthy people, okay? Now, keep in mind, these rumors are coming from 4chan, okay? Take all these with a grain of salt. Now, also, remember, everything that I'm saying, everything that I have said, all of this stuff is my opinion. It's just one person's opinion. This is not fact. This is just opinion. This is stuff that I'm reading, I found online, and I'm sharing it with you. That's all I'm doing. Okay? Under my 2 cents. I'm giving my 2 cents on this stuff. That's all it is. Alright? Now, the rumor as far as the new Spider-Man. The main antagonist, apparently, according to 4chan, the alleged rumor detail, the title of the film will be Spider-Man Home Run. Okay. As for the villain, the alleged leaker claims that at least one of them will be Kraven the Hunter. Now, I like Kraven the Hunter the from the comics, the older comics, and the animated series from the 90s. I really like the way they did him. Now, if Kraven the Hunter is chosen, it would be hard for them not to adapt Kraven's Last Hunt by J.M. DeMatteis and Mike Zeck. It's possible Kraven could be tasked with hunting down Spider-Man after he was publicly accused by J.J. Jonah Jameson of murdering Mysterio. And for those of you who have not watched the last Spider-Man movie, that's what happened. He was accused by J.J. Jonah Jameson of murdering Mysterio. Okay? Not only do they indicate the villain to be Kraven the Hunter, but they believe that Marvel Studios is looking at Henry Cavill or Jason Momoa to play the character as well. However, the leaker states that if Cavill or Momoa do sign on for the role, they will have to sign a non-compete clause if interested. Last we heard, Cable was filming the second season of The Witcher. However, production for the show has been halted for now due to the current pandemic. Notwithstanding, there is question about Cable's filming schedule that the studio would have to work around. Okay? And we all know if we do Kraven the Hunter, if you remember, Kraven's got a mustache and beard stubble and stuff like that. And if you remember what they did with the Justice League movie, I really don't want them to do that to The Witcher. Really don't want them to do that. So if they were going to do anybody, I would probably say Momoa would probably be the better choice just because of schedule. Okay? That's the only reason. As far as that, I do believe both of them would make great candidates. There are others out there that might be good. I'm pretty sure there's a couple of wrestlers out there that we could probably talk to that probably would jump at the case because, Kraven is a very, very athletic individual and does a lot of those jumping, high-flying flips and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure there's a couple of really good technical wrestlers that we could probably talk to. And, I know I'm not talking about John Cena. I don't think he's... One, he's a little too old. And two, he's not a technical wrestler. I just don't see him doing it. Anyway, the project is still in pre-production, so it may be more of an outline for what the film could look like rather than any of the main details. Okay, the project was to start filming this summer. However, with most of the productions have shut down because of the current outbreak, so it might be pushed back like so many others. Now, when asked about the script, Holland said to the Philippine Daily Inquirer, I'm super happy about it. We will be shooting Spider-Man 3 in July in Atlanta. But this was before all of the you-know-what. When asked if he might appear in the upcoming Sony films like Venom 2 or Morbius, Holland stated, I'm not sure as to what they want me to do. So he might not, we don't know. Now, when he was speaking with Screen Rant, Holland, while promoting Disney's Onward, he talked about his previous flubs in interviews leading up to Avengers Infinity War, along with other Marvel cinematic titles since his introduction in Captain America Civil War. He states, "I know everything now. I had my big pitch meeting with Marvel and Sony about 2 weeks ago, and I know all the secrets. But I've also done about 1,000 interviews, so I know how not to spoil a movie anymore." So, there's that. So that's really a good thing. He's learned when to keep his mouth shut, which is good, and it's also good for his career. Alrighty. Now, let's see here. There were also some rumors that Parker would have to go through a legal route to clear his name, and that Charlie Cox would reprise his role as Matt Murdock to provide legal defense against the false accusations. Back in August of 2019, Lords of the Long Box indicated that Matt Murdock was being eyed for Spider-Man 3 to play this role. However, given reports about contracts regarding the Marvel characters that showed up in the Netflix series, it was unlikely that they would be able to use Murdock. Instead, the rumor indicated that She-Hulk would act as Spider-Man's legal counsel, which I think is more likely considering all the stuff that they're pushing lately, the agendas and stuff that they've been pushing lately, which I will get into here in a little bit. However, there have also been recent rumors that Murdock might show up in Spider-Man 3 after all. Okay? Anyway, if you have any ideas about the alleged reveals, anything like that, about the film title, stuff like that, you can always talk with me about it. You can talk with me about it here, or you can talk with me about it on YouTube when this goes up on YouTube, and you can find me on my social medias. We can talk about it on there. As always, you can also go to Bounding Into Comics and discuss it with them. They have a lot of stuff. They have a lot of people talking about it as well. Okay? Next subject. Another rumor. Thought, Love and Thunder. I'm sorry, Thor, Love and Thunder. Now, they were talking about Christian Bale. We all know Christian Bale is gonna be in the series, in the movie. Okay. There's a new rumor also coming from 4chan, so again, take it with a grain of salt. This is it's a rumor. It's not fact. It is pure rumor. Also, this is also coming from Bounding Into Comics. All right. So you can read all this on their website. I also would highly recommend you go and read all of this at their website. All right. And when I get this up onto YouTube, I will post a link to their website in the description for the YouTube description, so that you guys can go and check it out. They've got some really good stuff. They cover a lot of good stuff. These are some good guys. I think we should really give them some love, because they are just some good people. Okay. Thought, Love and Thunder. There's some new rumors around Christian Bale, who is going to play in Taika Waititi. I know I butchered that name because I've got dumb tongue. That the upcoming Thought, Love and Thunder film. Bell was reported to be in talks to join that back in January. Following the report, the fans heavily speculated he would be playing Thor's ally, Beta Ray Bill. Now, I have been wanting Beta Ray Bill to make an appearance since the very first Thor movie. He is one of my favorite characters. Has been since his inception. Okay? He's a great character. But, however, those early speculations would be proved to be wrong, as the actor Tessa Thompson stated that Bale would be playing the primary villain. Okay? They asked if she read the script and if she could provide details, and Entertainment Tonight asked her, and she says, yeah, I've read the script. I can't tell you much, but lots of exciting text messages exchanged between Natalie and I. We are going to have fun. She added, Taika's writing, directing, some familiar faces, some new people in the mix. Christian Bale is going to play our villain, which is going to be fantastic. That's what she said to Entertainment Tonight. A previous rumor from Charles Murphy indicated Bale's character would be motion capture. He stated, I'm hearing it's for a mocap role, but I'm looking into it. He speculated that Bale could be playing Dario Aguirre, Beta Ray Bill, or even Gore the God Butcher. The recent rumor indicates that Bale will be playing Dario Aguirre. That one's going to be an interesting role. Really it is. The rumor from 4chan, which also provides updates on a number of other MCU projects, and accordingly indicates that Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow would be delayed, states Christian Bale is playing Dario Aguirre in Love and Thunder. It also reveals Groot and Rocket have supporting roles. Vin Diesel had previously confirmed that the Guardians of the Galaxy would be showing up in Love and Thunder. Diesel stated the director talked to me and Thor will incorporate some of the Guardians of the Galaxy, which would be very interesting. Nobody knows, but maybe I shouldn't have said anything. As for Dario Aguirre, he's the CEO of Roxxon Energy Corporation. Okay? It is the most powerful corporation on Earth in the Marvel Universe, and aims to make as much money as possible without regard for any negative consequences. Roxxon, of course, as we all know, is a play on Exxon. Alright? It's what it was. It's what it was meant to be. Not only is Aguirre the CEO of Roxxon Energy, but at the age of 9, he was gifted the ability to transform into a Minotaur. His gift came after his entire family, including his parents, his brothers and sisters, as well as his aunts and uncles and cousins, were brutally murdered by pirates. Aguirre was the only one to survive and prayed all night in a cave for death and power and revenge. The character is currently playing a prominent role as an antagonist to Bruce Banner and the various personas of the Hulk. Along with the statement that Bale will play Aguirre, it also indicates that Killing Eve actor Jodie Comer is in final negotiations for a role, as well as Ryan Gosling. No details are provided on who they might play, although the rumor from back in August indicated that Marvel was looking to introduce Sarah. However, if they indeed looking at Comer, she might be a better fit for Angela, which I completely agree. I actually completely agree with that assessment. I think she would be a better fit for Angela. Again, if you have any idea, anything, any other thoughts, feelings, anything like that, feel free to jot them down. Talk to me about it. I'm willing to talk about it constructively. Come on, let's be constructive about it. We can be evil, but we can also be constructively evil. And be sure to come and talk to the people at Bounding into Comics. They also have a Twitter persona. Talk to them. These are good people. Now, speaking of Marvel, now we're going into the stuff that I've been wanting to talk about for a while now. All right. Now, on Twitter, on the 24th of March, Newsarama posted a thing about this new X-Men story that they're going to be doing, this event. The whole event is basically everybody gets a sword. Everybody. That's it. Everybody, every comic, every hero, everybody gets a sword. Cyclops gets a sword. Wolverine, he gets a sword. Yes, Wolverine gets a sword. Storm gets a sword. Nightcrawler gets a sword. Everybody gets a sword. And it's the, craziest X-Men stories ever. The X of Swords. Well, Nate Niles just posted on there in a rolling of his eyes thing. He's just like, why? And I agree. Why? Especially Wolverine. Why does he need a sword? It's just dumb. This is just dumb. Even the Punisher gets a sword, but it's a gun sword. Yeah, a gun sword. It almost feels like they're running out of ideas. But I digress. Anyway, so the Marvel Comics writer Gary Duggan, or Dugan, whichever way you don't know exactly how he pronounces his name, interjects himself into the conversation. Now, he is currently penning Marauders, Cable, and Savage Avengers. Okay? He is currently penning 3 of the comic books. Okay? Now, mind you, he is usually a decent guy. Usually. Now, Nate is a comic penciler, inker. He does some decent work. I've looked into a bunch of his stuff. And he does subscription work for people, as well as he's trying to do his own comic books. All right? He's a good guy. All right? He's just trying to go his own way. There's nothing wrong with that. He's just an indie comic booker. That's it. All right? Now, Gary, who is guy from Marvel, interjects himself into this and says, Nate, wishing you success on your continuing journey outside comics. All right? He's being a jackass. That's honestly, that's a jackass comment. You know? Another person steps in and says, no wonder this industry is tumbling. It's so professional. Gary responds, you ding-dongs don't get to show up in my mentions and keep your civilian status. Yes, he said civilian status. You can say whatever the hell you want anywhere you want except in the mentions of someone else. Civilian. Now, he was never in the military. He's not currently in the military. He's a comic book writer. All right? Another guy pops in and calls him an a-hole. And his response was to tell him to eat a bag of pre-effed phalluses. And then someone says, really? A writer you gave money to saying publicly you should lose your civilian status? And he quotes back, good Lord, man, I'm talking about you phalluses that show up in my mentions. You want to be that guy? Go ahead. Meantime, the adults have larger, more pressing concerns. Always enjoy these shitbirds showing up in my mentions, then boo-hoo when they lose their civilian status. He appears to not understand how Twitter works, though. He's getting upset that people respond to a Newsarama article that tagged him. The article tagged him. If he didn't want to be tagged in the post, there is an option to remove the tag. However, he either is ignorant of this option or willfully chose not to do it in order to insult a comic book fan and artist. A fan and artist who simply expressed their opinion via a GIF or GIF, whatever you want to call it. I call it a GIF. That they're enthused about the upcoming X-Men event book. Duggan would even escalate the situation when another fan expressed their disappointment in how Dugan dealt with one of the fans. The YouTuber, That Umbrella Guy, another really great YouTuber, I would honestly suggest you guys jump over there and give him a like, as well as Doomcock, hail Doomcock, and Gary from Nerdrotic, another great guy you should go over there and give a follow to, because he is actually ran a comic book store, knows his way around comics, and is really good about some of this stuff. You should give these guys a follow. These guys are really good. But anyway, That Umbrella Guy commented on his tweets and was not surprised by his comments, noting Marvel creators that are absolutely allowed to denigrate. They are absolutely allowed to blockbot. They can treat you like trash, and well, you know what? Nothing will happen because freelancer. They're freelancers. That's the whole thing. They can get away with it. That's how they get away with it. Marvel technically allows these people to get away with it because they're all freelancers. But here's the thing. Freelancers can't draw unemployment. Yeah. You've got guys like Ron Mars saying writers are hired by publishers, publishers sell to retailers, retailers sell to fans, so my client is the publishers, not the fan. Really? Okay. Well, thanks to the price hikes, the no return policies for the retailers, and ignoring the desires of the consumers, the fans aren't buying from the retailers. The retailers are in turn not purchasing from the publishers because they've got all of these comics that are not selling sitting on their shelves. They're just sitting there. They can't move the product. They don't have an expiration date like grocery stores and groceries and things like that, so they can't write them off. They literally just sit there, depreciating in value, because they're not like the old comics. The reason why the old comics, the older comics, where they get higher in value is because there's few and far between. That's because they were destroyed. They got thrown away. They got recycled. That's what happened. There's very few of them. When there's a whole bunch of them, they're not worth all that much. Okay? So publishers aren't hiring writers. They have a few set that they've got that are doing a few of their stuff. You know, so that's what we're running into. The comic book industry has been in decline for at least a decade, and they have no one to blame but themselves. They rebooted the heroes so many times, the characters have all but lost their identities. You've got Batman and Catwoman, they're having a baby. Good. Batman's phallus works. Awesome. I'm sure every kid needs to know where babies come from. But, you know, of course, according to the SJW Brigade, they do. And at the earliest age possible. Yeah, of course they do. You know? Batman doesn't need to go fight villains anymore. No, he needs to be at home with Catwoman, taking care of the baby. Yeah, they're going to reboot this. They're going to reboot it again. Or they're going to do exactly what they've done like 50 other times. Oh, this is a one of, and they're going to reboot. You've got Captain America as a Hydra agent. Spider-Man is either a clone or a Hispanic gay man. There's no judgment there. It's just a fact. You know, look at in the comic. Iron Man isn't a man. Iron Man's a woman of color. Miss Marvel has all the powers of the Avengers because she absorbed them from the clones of the Avengers. Though, I mean, I don't know how the hell you can absorb the ability to put on a suit of armor. I just don't understand that one. They've literally driven a wedge into the hearts of the fans of the characters. And it's to the point that they no longer care for the current incarnations. They are going back and reading the past episodes, all the past characters. You can go online and you can literally find the past issues. I know for a fact my wife has read them, is currently reading them. She's read all the way from the first Avengers all the way up to the current. She's read all of the Doctor Strange. She's a huge Doctor Strange fan. You can go online and read all of it. With all these new things with the variant covers are the dumbest thing ever. All this stuff boils down to colossal stupidity on their part. You know, you've got Donny Cates literally attacking people on Twitter. And then he attacks people on Twitter, telling people, F every single one of you, from the bottom of his heart. F every single one of you, get F'd. And then turns around and wants money to do a Marvel and DC comic crossover. You know, it's just, there's people, and the thing is it's these guys are literally just destroying their own, they're destroying themselves. And they have no one to blame but themselves. They keep trying to sledgehammer in this pointless, ridiculous rhetoric. And people are tired of it. People are tired of being preached at. Every single buddy, including the people that they are trying, quote unquote, trying to pander to. With the whole, snowflake and safe space, the people that they were trying to, quote, represent hate those characters. Hate them. With a burning passion, hate them. Because they're offensive. Beyond offensive. Because they are not actual inclusionary. They're a slap in the face. You can literally go online to, these GoFundMe sites, these FundMe sites, and find indie comic book artists who put out amazing comics. And there's no political, nothing. It's just comics the way they used to be. And they're getting funded. They are getting funded. But the same people that are on Twitter from Marvel, these writers and authors that are telling people, like the author of Venom and Thor, who literally has gone on record saying that if you do not buy the new Warriors series that contain Snowflake and Safe Space, you are a racist. You can literally find that entire Q&A online where he has said that, gone on record as saying that. These people are also on these little sites. Not 2 or 3 years ago, they were literally telling all of these indie artists, you're slime, you're junk, you will never amount to anything. Your comics suck. You don't know anything. We're better than you. We will just walk all over you. These same people are on these same sites trying to get their comics that they want published and going. And they're not getting them. They're not getting funded because of the way that they're acting. The way people are seeing how they're acting. And nobody wants it. Nobody wants their dribble. There's literally like CB what is it? Sabulski. I know I mistake. I know I probably messed up his name. Um, he's literally a Marvel Entertainment. Literally telling people to go. Looking for a way to support your local comic book shop? Try reaching out to any nearby retailers and or stores for more details on their offerings. And then this CB Cebulski goes, "Hey, comic fans, here's a state-by-state listing of local shops that are staying open and helping get comics and trades into the hands of readers in various ways." But he'll do that, but he will literally go on tirades on Twitter and tell people to go F themselves and get lost, and tell people that they are pathetic losers and stuff like that. And then you got like artists like Tim Doyle licking people, literally licking people. It's like, dude, it's like literally you don't have to pander to people. Just include them. That's it. You don't have to pander. Just include them. They're just people. That's it. They're just people. Include them. That's all you got to do. You don't have to sledgehammer them in. Just like what they're doing. They're literally, I don't know if you guys have read this, but you guys remember the Sylvester Stallone movie Cliffhanger. It was a okay movie. It was all right. Not the greatest movie he's ever done, but not the worst. It was an okay movie. They are literally doing a gender-swapped Cliffhanger movie. They're literally making a Cliffhanger. It's no different. It's not a different movie with or a continuation. None of that. No, it's literally the same movie, but it's a woman. That's it. That's all they're doing. Quit sledgehammering this crap into it. Quit doing this stuff. It's not funny. It's not fun. Nobody here is enjoying this. Nobody likes it. Not one person. Not one person that I know actually enjoys this stuff. If we wanted to be preached at about how we're bad and we should all go die and pay for it, we'll go to church. Okay? And if I wanted that and also be, you're bad because you're a male, I'll go to my mother's house. Okay? I don't need that garbage. I go to the movies and I watch television, I read comics, I read books to entertain myself, to do things, to have fun. That's what I do it for. That's what it's there for. Okay? It has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with political leanings, religious leanings, socioeconomical leanings. None of that. It's to help me deal with the issues that I have. I have enough issues going on in my head on a daily basis without having to deal with somebody coming in to some feed somewhere and telling me that I am some pathetic piece of crap because I exist. I had enough of that in my childhood. And that's about as much as I'm going to talk about that. Now, as far as anything else goes, I really can't see much of anything else that's really newsworthy. I mean, they did finally pass the whole the stimulus thing, but that's pretty much anybody who's got any access to any news outlets has that. They got that going. They know that. And let's see. So, all right. So anyway, all right. So that's going to be enough for the my 2 cents. We're not going to do story time today because, well, I went to try and write a little bit on the story, and well, there's a couple of things that I want to get done, but I got to ask a couple of questions of a couple of characters first. If I can't get their permission, I've got to do a little bit of some tweaking. And the other story that I want to tell, I got to make sure that the characters aren't copyrighted, because if they are, I've got to change them. And if, because I got to make sure I don't want to break any copyright laws. I want to tell a good story, but I want to make sure the characters aren't copyright. If they're copyrighted, the people who have the copyright, they got to get their due. But, the story's mine, but the characters are theirs. I want to make my own character with my own story, all right? So, we're going to go into the supervillain. All right? So, let's see here. Now, we all love being a supervillain, don't we? Destroying the world. Yes. But what exactly does that mean? Taking over the world. Yes. Chaos. Panic. Disorder. But does it really mean all that? Honestly, does it? And on top of that, what makes you a super villain? What is the difference between a simple overlord and a super villain? You see, we covered this a little bit last time. And, all of the people that you see on the television, in the books, all of these, quote, bad guys, like Dr. No, being the merciless, even Emperor Palpatine, they're all overlords. They're not super villains because they're dumb. And that's it. They're dumb. You're not, you're a villain, but you're not a super villain, to quote Megamind. Okay? That's the whole thing. Can you go through and be a super villain by being stupid? And the answer is no. You can't, because you're going to die. Flat out. And you cannot rule the world dead. Very, very simple. You cannot rule the world while you're dead. And that's exactly what's going to happen to you if you don't follow some basic, simple thoughts, simple rules. Okay? One of the biggest ones, okay? One of the biggest things you need to remember, I've already gone over a bunch of good ones. If you want to go over some of the big main ones, listen to my podcast from my last podcast, okay? That one will illuminate some of the good ones, okay? This number one right here, okay? Once you secure your power, all right? Once you secure your power, destroy any and all pesky time travel devices. Get rid of them. Destroy them. Because, why? Because they're going to be used against you. Do not keep them. I may need them. No, you don't. But what if I want to go back in time? You don't need to go back in time. If you need to go back in time, you haven't done your job properly. That's simple. If you don't have time to do it right the first time, you sure as hell don't have time to go back and do it all over again. Okay? It's that simple. Just do it right. Do it right the first time. And then move on. Okay? No time travel devices, because they will be used against you. Alright? Alright. Now, when you capture the hero, heroine, whatever it is, make sure you also capture their dog, monkey, ferret, whatever sickeningly cute little animal capable of untying rope, filching keys, or doing anything that is following them around. Okay? Do not be swayed by cute. It will be your utter demise. Alright? Cute will get you killed. Alright? Remember that. Yes, there are a lot of rules for being a supervillain. It's part of the job. Yes, this is a job. You're going to be ruling the world. And eventually, you're going to go from world is just you got to start small. You're going to be ruling your house, your neighborhood, then you go to town, city, state, nation, world. Then you go up from there. Then you go, galaxy, up all the way into universe. And then you branch out into the multiverses. Where you go from there, That's up to you. I'm just here to tell you what, give you some rules to allow you to actually succeed. And see, should you succeed, that's where I succeed. You see that? That's what it is. I'm giving you the tools to succeed in your villainy. If you're going to be a supervillain, be smart about it. That's the whole thing. All right. And speaking of that, when you capture the beautiful rebel and she claims, or she or he claims to be attracted by your power and good looks and will gladly betray their companions if you just let them in on your plan, you maintain a very healthy amount of skepticism. If you the single slightest bit doubt what they believe, literally be done with them. All right? Do not play with fools. All right? Now, during your tenure as a supervillain, going up into the ruler of multiverses, you are going to occasionally have to employ bounty hunters. Okay? It's just the nature of the job. All right? You're going to have to. Now, when you're doing this, only employ the ones who work for money. All right? Under no circumstances should you ever employ the ones who work for the pleasure of the hunt, because every single last one of them tend to do dumb stuff, like even the odds to give the other guy a sporting chance, because the thrill of the hunt. No. No. Because that's just... No. It's just dumb. Because you know what's going to happen. The bounty hunter's going to fail, and you're still stuck with good guy number 167359 coming after you, interrupting your tea time, and you've got to deal with them. And you've got a lot on your mind. You're in the middle of trying to take over the world, or the universe, or the multiverse. You got stuff to do. You're a supervillain. You don't got time to be sitting around dealing with blah 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 blah. Blah. Besides, heroes talk too much anyway. They're always talking. It's just, oh, you're evil, blah, blah, blah. I'm good, blah, blah, blah. You just, whatever, zap. Yeah, okay, goodbye. It's just, they get on their blah, 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 and you're just like, riveting. I was hanging on every single word. zap, and move on with your day. Okay. Now, here's the other thing you need to make sure. One of the other things, a very, very valuable thing. Make sure you have a crystal clear understanding of who is responsible for what in your organization at any given time. Example, if your general screws up, do not draw your weapon, point at him or her, and say, "Here is the price for failure," and then suddenly turn and kill some random underling. Do not do that. The general screws up, the general dies. Everyone is responsible for their own actions. It's that simple. Again, you're trying to take over the world, universe, multiverse, whatever. You got stuff to do. They're responsible for their own actions. They screw up, it's on them. Okay? You don't that random underling may be employee of the month. He may be doing the best he can, or she. They may be working their butt off. Who you know? Why zap somebody who's providing a valuable service for your Legion of Terror? Now, one of the biggest things in everything I've ever seen, every movie, every television series, every book, every comic, of every overlord I've ever seen, that the supervillains should never do, if you take something of very importance to a hero, their ring of power, their sword of power, their whatever, do not, under any circumstance, put it on public display. Again, you take that and you put it in your safety deposit box. Okay? It's yours now. Do not keep it on your person. Do not hide it in your room. Do not give it to someone of the fair opposite sex as a trinket. Put it in the safety deposit box. It's yours now. They can't have it. Mwaha, mwaha, ha, ha. Now, another thing. While you're out planning an expedition, as one does, you can't stay cooped up in your Tower of Terror, except for right now. I mean, right now, during this time, it's a good idea. Even supervillains need to stay inside at the moment. Relax, enjoy, come up with more nefarious schemes. But when you're next able to go out on an expedition, whatever you do, do not choose a route for your forces that goes through a thick, leafy terrain conveniently located near the rebel camp. I don't know how many times I've seen this happen. You go for the big main super bad overlord goes with his Legion of Doom in their big, gaudy helmets. They're being walked through with a bunch of people. They're up inside of a big thing with people holding and carrying them on their shoulders. No. Big leafy terrain, bunch of stuff where people can hide behind. Yeah, no, don't do that. That's just asking for trouble. Think ahead, plan ahead, expect things. If you expect them to happen and plan for it, they can't surprise you. Okay? Also, remember, okay? Do not get yourself in a rut. Okay? Vary your daily routine. Just, go do something different. Don't do everything the same every single day. Don't always take a swig of wine or ring a giant gong before finishing off your enemy or something like that. Just don't do that, because all you're doing is giving them a chance to poison you, or you to turn your back on them and they to pull out their secret weapon, or give a signal for some dude somewhere to jump out, or somebody they've tried to pay off. Don't do it. Vary your routine. If you go to a certain Starbucks, go there for 2 or 3 weeks. Go to another one for 2 or 3 weeks. Then make your own coffee for a couple of weeks. Vary things up a little bit. Save yourself a little bit. Now, if you want to have some fun, be sure you do this. Hire yourself one hopelessly stupid and completely incompetent lieutenant. You completely and totally fill them full of nothing but misinformation, and then send them out to capture the hero. That particular hero is going to be so wrapped up in dealing with whatever this lieutenant has been doing and the information that they've been given, they're going to either give up or end up in an insane asylum. Either way, they're out of your hair. You don't got to deal with them. Problem solved. Problem solved. Less problems for you, more active taking over the world. Okay, now, as an equal opportunity employer, as you should be as a supervillain, you should be an equal opportunity employer. Always remember that, Be sure you have several hearing impaired bodyguards. All right? And you ask, well, why? Why hearing impaired bodyguards? Well, here's the reason why. That way, if you wish to speak confidentially with someone, I will just simply turn my back. So, turn my back, turn your back. You can turn around. That way they can't read your lips. Instead of sending them all out of the room. They could still stand there and watch. They can't hear what you're being said. They can't read your lips. Plus, you're giving somebody who's hearing impaired a good paying job. And bodyguard makes pretty good money. Equal opportunity employer. Looks good on a resume. Even if you are a supervillain. Well, there's now, if for some oddball reason, in a sudden fit of temporary insanity, you decide to give the current hero coming after you the chance to reject a job as a trusted lieutenant, do make sure you retain enough sanity to wait until your current trusted lieutenant is out of earshot before making the offer. I cannot count the number of times I've seen that come back to bite countless people, countless overlords with the random blade in the back from the quote-unquote trusted lieutenant who can no longer be trusted because you stabbed me in the back, now I'm going to stab you. Blah de blah blah blah. Again, remember, you can't rule anything when you're dead. And, okay, when you are instructing your Legion of Terror, do not spout things like, they must be taken alive. Instead, the command that you should be giving out, try to take them alive if it is at all reasonably practical. Because sometimes it's not possible. It's just not possible. Because, you got your Legion of Terror. If they try and take this one idiot alive, they're going to keep throwing countless bodies at them, and it's just going to, in the long run, it's just going to be a huge red mark in your cost. It's going to be more cost efficient for you just to vaporize said problem and move on with your day. Especially with your Legion of Terror, they have things to do as well. They're on the job. They're on the clock. Hey, overtime. You've got overtime. I mean, you're you are a super villain, but still there's that whole paying your underlings. A well-paid underling is a cooperative underling. Remember that. That's just you gotta remember that. Make sure you pay your underlings. Pay them well. You keep them happy. and they will follow you to the end of the dimension. I can't stress that enough. Also, remember, okay? For those of you supervillains who like to engage the hero yourselves, I know there are those of you who do. You enjoy that personable touch, and I can respect that, okay? Do not, under any circumstance, if your hero decides to run up on the roof of your tower of terror, do not run up after them and then attempt to struggle with them in an attempt to push them over the edge. And you should also never engage them at the edge of a cliff, and under no circumstances whatsoever should you ever engage in a battle on a rope bridge over anything. A river of molten lava is completely out. Okay? If you have any questions about why a river of molten lava, you can ask Mr. Anakin Skywalker about that one. He will tell you all about why you should leave lava alone. Now, as you have your Legion of Doom, if you send out your weakest troops and they fail to eliminate a hero, you immediately send out your best troops instead of wasting time with progressively stronger ones, so that the closer the hero gets, the stronger the hero gets. Just send the best ones. Squish the bug and be done with it. Because all you're doing, if you keep throwing, progressively stronger ones, all you are literally doing is just giving them more, in role-playing game terms, you're giving them more experience and giving them more gear. They can take all the gear that these guys have and sell it, use it, turn that stuff against you. If your weakest troops can't do it, just send the best ones out, squash the problem, and then move on with your day. Again, as I've been saying, you're a very busy person. All of this is mainly trying to ease yourself through the day. You got stuff to do. It's, okay, boom, boom, boom. That's literally what you're trying to do. I am trying to take over said world. I don't got time to deal with hero number blah, blah, blah. I am going to destroy you. Zap. Okay, I'm back onto what I'm trying to do. You're trying to build this colossal machine that destroys the galaxy, and you're going to turn it on if they don't turn it over. You don't need some hero coming up and interrupting you when you're trying to, solder the last wire, because, what if you mess up and accidentally turn it on? You don't really want to turn it on because you want to rule the galaxy. You just want the threat. That's the thing. You want the ability to do it. You don't actually want to do it. The ones who actually want to do it, those people are insane and should be put in insane asylums. Speaking of those devices, if your doomsday device happens to come with a reverse switch, okay? If this said device does happen to have a reverse switch on it, as soon as that has been employed, instead of it dramatically melting down and exploding, it should melt down and be made into a limited edition commemorative coin. That's what it should do. Don't make it explode. Just make it melt. That's it. Okay, that was a failure. Moving on. The commemorative coin. Okay, that was failure number blah blah blah. Oh yeah, I remember that. Let's not do that one again. Learn from one's mistakes. If it goes boom, that's bad. Especially if it goes boom in your face. Okay? If it goes boom in somebody else's face, that's fine. You don't want it to go boom in your face. If it goes in boom in your face from way over there, it's still bad. So that's the things that you got to remember. Now, if you have these trusted advisors, all right, there's a reason why you have these trusted advisors. Okay? They are trusted advisors for a reason. If your advisors ask of you, why are you risking everything on such a mad scheme? Do not proceed until you have a response that satisfies them. Because they are your trusted advisors. Do not just go on with what you are doing. The reason why is because it could lead to your demise. Now, when you are designing your fortress, here's something, good piece of housekeeping advice. When you're designing your fortress hallways, okay? Your fortress hallways should have no alcoves or protruding structural supports which intruders could use for cover in a firefight. Okay? They should just be hallways. Alright? Don't get fancy. If you want to get fancy in your quarters. Your Tower of Terror should be very businesslike. Alright? That's what it is. You are in the business of taking over whatever it is that you're taking over. Also, as far as housekeeping goes, your bulk trash should be disposed of in an incinerator, not compactor. Okay? And they should be kept hot. None of that nonsense about flames going through accessible tunnels at predictable intervals. None of that garbage. The incinerator will be kept hot at all times. All times. It's bulk trash. Of course, recycle. Of course. This is bulk trash we're talking about. Alright? No heroes hiding in the incinerator. New heroes hiding in a compactor. They try and hide in it, they're going to be gone. No ifs, no ands, no buts. Gone. Puff of smoke. Bye-bye. Another thing. When you start walking down the path of evil villainy, make sure that you go and see a competent psychiatrist. All right? Now, just because you're being a supervillain does not make you crazy. All right? It's not crazy to be a supervillain. All right? Don't let anybody tell you any different. You're not crazy because you want to take over the world. People have been doing it all over the time. Look at our local governments. You know, why do you think I titled this thing Feeling Better About Yourself Through Global Domination? Why do you think they do the thing that they're doing? Why do you think that the people that run NASDAQ and the stock market do the things that they do? They're trying to rule the world. That's how they feel better about themselves. They're trying to dominate the globe. Are they supervillains? In their own right, yes. But anyway, go see a competent psychiatrist and get cured of all extremely unusual phobias and bizarre compulsive habits which could prove to be a disadvantage for you at a certain moment in time. They could find out, the hero could find out about, oh, you don't like blah, blah, blah. And they could try and whip that out on you. Get cured of that. Work on that. Work on yourself. You're a supervillain. You got to work on yourself as well as everything else. All right? Now, when you have in your Tower of Terror, you're going to have a computer system. All right? With publicly available terminals. It's just part of how you're going to have to run an efficient system. You're going to have, time clocks, things like that. Being able to, for team leaders to talk with people, you to send things to your lieutenants, your generals, everything like that. You're going to have a publicly available terminal. And there's going to have maps with it, all right? But the map, what you should do, the map that they display of your tower will have a room that is clearly marked as make sure that there is a room that is clearly marked the main control room. That room will be the execution chamber. Okay? The actual main control room, you need to mark it something like sewage overflow containment. Something like that. Anybody who is not familiar with that, guess what? They're going to go thinking it's the main control room. Hello, welcome to the execution chamber. Anybody who really needs to go to the main control room will know where the main control room is. If you are an evil overlord, evil supervillain, you need to know these things. That's why you also have trusted advisors and trusted lieutenants. Where is my main control room? Most of the time you're going to be in there. You know, that's the thing. You've got to have those things around. You've got to know these things. Your Legion of Terror is going to be looking to you for advice and for guidance. And you've also got to understand that you also have to appear not only as, yes, I am the one in charge, but I'm also, I'm also somewhat approachable. I mean, I am the master of the domain. I am, the knower of all. But Bob in accounting can still walk up and ask you a question without fear of being vaporized. But they also understand that, should they fail, they will be vaporized. There is no in between. There's too much of the 3 strikes and you're out. No, 1 strike and you're out. There's enough. Okay. Now, as a supervillain, when you just start out, the rebels, I'm going to warn you, they're going to manage to trick you. You're going to get tricked. All right? It's going to happen. But what you're going to have to do is remember, you learn from your failures. Make note of what they did so that you do not keep falling for the same thing over and over and over again. I can't count the number of times I have constantly seen the same overlords getting caught by the same stupid tricks. It's the same thing. Over and over and over again. It makes me just want to slap them. It's like, why are you even doing this? What's the point? You're not doing anything but just making everybody else in the supervillain establishment look stupid. You make the whole make the whole evil underworld look stupid by doing all these stupid things. Also, plan ahead. Plan ahead. If there's anything any one big main piece of advice I can give for any supervillain is to plan ahead. Always know in advance what you're going to do with any of your enemy when you capture them. Okay? That way, you'll never have to order someone to be tied up while you decide their fate. Okay? Make plans. Even if it's just, random hero number, blah, blah, blah. Have a list. Make up a list of different things. Make them spin the wheel. How will you go about how will you be dispatched today? The wheel of torture. And give them a little sliver. Give them a little sliver of hope. Make it, freedom. But, it's like a centimeter across. That, it maybe. If they do it, let them go. But, drop them on the other side of the world buck naked. You never said you were going to let them out the front door. Let them, They're free. Okay. If you, as a supervillain, have a choice when recruiting to find someone to run your computer system, and your choice is between a brilliant programmer who's the head of the world's largest international technology conglomerate and an obnoxious 15-year-old dork who's trying to impress his girlfriend, take the brat and let the hero get stuck with the genius. Every time it's the 15-year-old who can bypass everything that the genius has done. Every time. Every single movie, every single book, every single comic book, every single Saturday morning cartoon, every single Sunday afternoon matinee special, made for TV movie with, 9,000 commercial specials. It's always the same. It's the 15-year-old brat trying to show off for his girlfriend that takes down the super genius programmer who can, who designed and built the thing himself. Yeah, go with him. Because the hero's going to get stuck with the super genius who's going to be sitting there caught picking his nose. I don't know what to do. That's exactly what's going to happen. Now, also with that, if you do have, when you have this massive computer system, be sure you take at least as many precautions as a small business, and include such thing as virus scans and firewalls. I mean, come on, man. Invading alien species. We beat them with a virus? A computer virus? Really? They didn't, they didn't even have a bootleg version of McAfee or Norton? Seriously? Come on. If you're going to be a supervillain, remember, protect yourself, virus scan, firewalls. The 15-year-old will keep you up to date on this. They'll know what the hell you're doing. Just trust them on it. All right? They say you need a virus scan, firewall. Just do it. Okay? And then let him go spend time with his girlfriend. Don't lock him up and say you can't talk, you can't mess with her. Just let him go spend time with his girlfriend. Or if it's a girl and his boyfriend, or a girl and her girlfriend, whatever. Just let him go spend time with their significant other. Okay? That's their prize. All right? You are a benevolent, evil dictator. Remember, benevolence. All right? You're trying to get what you want, so you've got to be you've got to make with the benevolence a little bit. All right? Evil in moderation. You're evil to a point. Ugh. To that point, you need to be an equal opportunity despot. Make sure that terror and oppression is distributed fairly. Not just against one particular group, okay, that will form a core of a rebellion. If you're going to be a despot, you make sure that your terror and oppression is distributed fairly and equally. You must be equal in all things. All right? You cannot show favoritism for one particular group or the other. Doesn't work that way. All right? You're not going to get anywhere by doing that. Not going to save you any time. It's going to cost you time and energy in the long run. Trust me on this. Just keep it simple. Stay straight down the middle with everything. You're going to get a lot further and be able to go do a lot more things. If you're going to be a despot, be an equal opportunity one. Okay? Okay, now also, if you are ever dining with a hero, I don't know why you would be, but if you ever are, and you decide to put poison in their goblet or their drink, and then for some reason leave the table, for any reason whatsoever, you have to go to the bathroom, anything. When you get back, immediately order new drinks and throw out new drinks, new meals. Throw out everything and then have new ones come in. Does not matter. Do not give them the opportunity. Like I said, be one step ahead. Another thing, for those of you, again, for those of you who enjoy that one-on-one conflict, I know there's those of you who like that. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. That's your thing. You're allowed to like your things. Okay? I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to educate. That's it. If you are in a confrontation with someone and you are of the type that are shooting, do not, under any circumstance, shoot at any of your enemies if they are standing in front of a crucial support beam to anything heavy, dangerous, unbalanced, or if they're standing in front of anything that's clearly marked acid, biohazard, caution, anything with the big radioactive symbol on it, even a big glass container that may or may not contain, something that might eat you. You just don't do it. Okay? Take a few steps to the left or right and prompt aim. You might miss. You got to remember that. Aim. Aiming is good for you. Now, if you have slain an enemy, that happens to have a younger sibling or an offspring, you must, instead of waiting for them to grow up harboring feelings of vengeance toward me in your old age, just dispatch them. Dispatch them immediately. It will save you a lot of problems. You're not going to, it'll save you a lot of trouble in the long run. That's all it's about, is saving yourself a lot of problems. Also, do not, under any circumstances, imprison members of the same group in the same cell block, let alone the same cell. And if they are important prisoners, keep the only key to the cell door on your person instead of handing out copies to every other guard in the prison. Okay? Don't do it. That's how they get out. And that's what you want to avoid. At all costs, you want to avoid this. Because if they can plot and they can plan, they can destroy you. And that's what you're trying to avoid. And remember, if you're dead, you can't take over the world or rule anything for that matter. Now, also, if your trusted lieutenant tells you your Legion of Terror is losing a battle, believe them. After all, they're your trusted lieutenant. Retreating, regrouping, and coming back is a good idea. It's worked before. Beating your head against something and losing all of the rest of your forces, just, it's not worth it. Your trusted lieutenant tells you, my liege, we are losing this battle, let us retreat. Okay, retreat. If he's lying, disintegrate him. Problem solved. Now, also, supervillains, all right? You are a supervillain. Do not be chivalrous or sporting. If you have an unstoppable super weapon, use it. Use it as early and as often as possible instead of keeping it in reserve. Okay? If you have a mega death ray, use it. All right, now if you've got a world destroying bomb, that's one of those, don't make me push this, don't make me do it. But if you've got the mega death ray and okay, zap, now give me what I want. Zap, okay, now you're in charge, give me what I want. If they say anything but yes, you zap them. Now you're in charge. Give me what I want. That's how you do what you do. Now, if you absolutely must ride into battle, for those of you who do like the confrontational stuff, do make certain not to ride at the forefront of your Legion of Terror. And do not, under any circumstance, seek out your opposite member among that army. Okay? That's why you've got the Legion of Terror. That's what they're there for. You're there to send out. You're there to send out orders. You there, go destroy them. I don't like that over there. Make that into a parking lot. That's what you're there for. Perhaps have a cup of tea while you're watching this. That's what you're there for. You're a supervillain. If you absolutely must seek glory, be smart about it. Okay? That's all I'm saying. Be smart about it. Because, like again, you can't rule anything if you're dead. Now, if you want to save yourself a lot of headache, heartache, and hassle, one simple trick you can do, really, really easy. Hire yourself an expert marksman. Really simple. Expert marksman. Their entire job is to stand by the entrance of the fortress. You could have them stand or sit or, make a little nice guard box for them. Their job, the only job they've got, is to take out anyone who rides up to challenge you. That's their whole job. You're like, okay, I don't want to deal with it. Not today. All right, Bob, go on. Bob the sniper goes and sits down at your drawbridge to your tower of terror. And anyone who is ignorant enough to come up and try and challenge immediately gets a forehead that whistles. And then, and then Bob goes on about his day, and then you pay Bob a very good sum to do this. Also, when you are during the time when you are training your Legion of Terror, and train your Legion of Terror, okay? Train them. Explain to them that guns are ranged weapons and swords are not. Anyone who attempts to throw a sword at a hero or club him or her with a gun will be summarily disposed of. Okay? Seriously. The absolutely only time a gun should ever be used as a clubbing weapon is if they are absolutely 100% totally out of ammunition, and there is absolutely no other way, shape, or form they can do anything else but swing that weapon. And even then, they'd be better off punching. Because guns are not meant for swinging around. They're just not. They don't hit right. You'd be better off punching or kicking than swinging a gun around. Especially like rifles. Anyone who has attempted to swing a rifle will tell you this. Unless you have been properly trained on how to gun butt, that's a different story. Gun butt is completely different than using a gun as a club. Two completely different things. Also, as far as your vulnerabilities, okay, those are to be revealed strictly on a need-to-know basis, and no one needs to know. That's it. Nobody needs to know what your vulnerabilities are. That's it. Cursory glance at any recent issue of Superman. Everybody and their dog knows that he is vulnerable to kryptonite. Everybody. And apparently it's all over the damn place, too. Everybody's got it. I mean, even Batman's got a kryptonite batarang now. Yeah, nobody needs to know. If for any reason whatsoever during a time of peace, your Legion of Terror will not, under any circumstance, should not, will not be allowed to lie around drinking and eating. Instead, they will be required to obey a dietitian and do calisthenics on a regular basis. They will stick to their diet and they will do their aerobics and calisthenics. Can't count the number of times I have seen / read stories about the legions of terror becoming fat, drunken slobs and losing to upstart rebels. It's not what you need, nor what you want. Let them have some fun, of course. I mean, you're a despot, but you're not you're a benevolent despot. They can go out drinking and carousing, but that's not, make sure that's not the only thing they do. Now, as far as alliances go, alliances are tricky. We all know this. Do not make alliances with those more powerful than yourself. Such a person will only double-cross you in your moment of glory. It's going to happen. Instead, you do exactly that. You're a supervillain. Ally yourself with those less powerful than you and then double-cross them in their moment of glory. If they're dumb enough to do that, they deserve it. Just remember, you're an evil dictator / despot. You're trying to take over a world / galaxy, universe. Sometimes you got to play not so nice. Double crossing them doesn't necessarily mean dispatching them. It just means you double cross them. Maybe fold them into your Legion of Terror. Who knows? You can always turn it into your advantage. Now, here's a way if you want to avoid future problems, a little bit of advice for you. Just a little something. If you've got a scientist that with a beautiful, if you're a male or a male supervillain or a female supervillainess that likes women, and is a scientist with a beautiful and unmarried daughter that refuses to work with you, instead of holding them hostage, because that never leads to anything good, okay? Instead of doing that, offer to pay for their her future wedding and her children's college tuition. Okay? Because then she may work for you. Ah ha 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 ha. Subvert the system. Another thing, real simple, very, 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 very simple thing. Absolutely one of the most easy things you could ever do to help beyond even the burglar alarm. This is one of the most simple things you could have. Now, your Tower of Terror, you're probably going to want to have a moat. Every decent Tower of Terror has a moat. Okay? It's just, it's almost, you have to have it. What you do is you add indelible dye to the moat. Okay? And you make it one of the most fluorescent colors out there. Like fluorescent hot pink. Okay? So, I mean, it won't stop anyone from swimming across, of course. But even the most idiotic guard should be able to figure out that someone was in there. If somebody, some hot pink dude, is running around through the town, you're not supposed to be here. You swam through the moat. You know, that's just one of the quickest way to help with security. And that's the thing. You got to make sure security. Security is one of the biggest things. Your security and your safety. Beyond that, it's your subjects. And that's the thing. Your subjects. It begins with your home, then your town, then your country, then the world, eventually the universe. These are all your subjects. Once they fall in line into your fold, they become more like your family. Just remember that. When they become your family, that's when that becomes, and you treat them as such. Then the more you treat them as your family, the less heroes there are. Your evil dictator. Yeah, you want to rule the world. Yes, of course. Are you going about it in the most malicious way possible? Absolutely. But just because you're a bad guy doesn't mean you're a bad guy. You see? You know what I mean? The more people who fall in line and do as you say, you treat them like family, you take good care of them, they realize, hey, if we do what this guy says we do, we get to eat 3 meals a day, they take care of us. Any jerk that shows up trying to start trouble, they disappear. Yeah, okay, we get to live a pretty good life. Now, one of the other big cliches, all right? If you are ever in a situation where you have a hero cornered, granted, like I said, I'm not big on the whole, if you're a supervillain, you go out there and you do the fighting yourself, but if you are, and you have the hero cornered, and you're about to finish them off, and they say, look out behind you, Instead of laughing and saying, "You don't expect me to fall for that old trick, do you?" Instead, take a half step to the side and a half turn. That way you can keep your weapon trained on the hero, and then scan the area behind you. And if anything was heading for the anything that was heading for me, it will now be heading for the hero. Two birds, one stone. Real simple. Also, if you ever build a device to transfer the hero's energy into yourself, make sure it cannot operate in reverse. I don't know if I have covered that before, but yeah, make sure that you cannot operate in reverse. I don't know why that's even an option on anything. Why even build that? You know, that whole thing of, why even build a reverse into it where they can transfer it back out? Why? Because it's going to be used against you at the worst possible time, and you're just going to end up dead. And like we've been saying, also, when you are building your Tower of Terror, and you should be building gun turrets, and most of you will, okay? Make sure that they do not rotate so that they can direct their fire inward or at each other. Their main purpose is strafe. They strafe in a 180 arc at most, okay? And you just make them overlap. All right, real simple. They do not need to they do not need to do a full 360. There is no need for them to aim and direct fire into the courtyard. That is why you have guards. That's why you have competent guards. If they are not competent, they are disintegrated, and you put good competent guards there. That gives them incentive to be competent. Let the turrets do their job on the outside of the outside. The inside is taken care of by the guards. The outside is taken care of by the turrets. Two completely different things. Ugh. If you do decide, for some oddball reason, to hold a contest of skill open to the general public, make sure that all contestants be required to remove all hooded cloaks and have their beards removed, shaved. No beards, no hooded cloaks, no big baggy clothing, faces clearly seen at all times. No, none of that, hero popping up out of nowhere and, oh look, oops, I accidentally shot the arrow at the evil dictator. Nope, not gonna happen. Now, Here's the other thing. For those of you who happen to become into possession of an artifact that which is supposed to be used only by those of the pure of heart, do not, under any circumstances, attempt to use it no matter what you think. Okay? Just don't. Alright? It will end poorly. Trust me. It will end poorly. Just be glad that you have it. Think it's cool. Put it in your safety deposit box. And be happy. Now, back to the whole scientist thing. If you do decide to kidnap an older scientist, force them to work for you, be sure, again, investigate their offspring. Make sure that they neither have a beautiful but naive daughter who is willing to risk anything to get the scientist back, or an estranged son who works in the same field but had a falling out many years ago. Make sure none of that. None of that. If any of that, leave it alone. Fine, just move on to the next one. Trust me, you don't want that headache. Now, if you should decide in your plans to actually destroy the hero in an elaborate escape-proof doom trap, example, water filling up, sand pouring down, walls converging, etc. Do not leave them alone 5 to 10 minutes prior to imminent doom. Instead, find yourself a vantage point or have a monitoring camera. Stick around and enjoy your adversary's demise. Do not assume anything. Okay? Stick around. Watch it happen. All right? If you've got an elaborate escape-proof plan, watch it through to the end. Otherwise, what was the point of building it? Okay? If you're not going to watch it, and move on with your day. Now, for those of you who do like to have creatures, beasts, pets, any and all beast that you control through magic or technology, treat them with the utmost care and kindness. You should do this anyway. All of them. Any and all of them should be treated with care and kindness anyway. But you control them through magic and technology. Treat them with care and kindness. That way, if the control is ever broken, it will not immediately come after you for revenge. Real simple. If you do it well enough, you eventually will not need the magic or technology to control it. It will just do it of its own volition. Okay? Logic. Think ahead. The other thing, if you do happen to learn about a callow youth that has begun a quest to destroy you, just don't waste your time. Do not wait until they mature so that you can have a more meaningful battle. Destroy them. Just zap. We're talking about wasting your time, okay? Time wasting. Sitting around dealing with this stuff is something you don't want to do. As a supervillain, you're trying to move on with your day. Okay. If you do appoint someone as your consort, do not subsequently inform them that they will be replaced by a younger, more attractive version. Don't do it. Under any circumstances. Doesn't matter. Okay? You're setting yourself up. Bad things are gonna happen. Now, if you do happen to learn the whereabouts of the single artifact which can destroy you, instead of sending out all your troops to seize it and alerting the presence of the hero, send them out to go do something else and quietly put out a want ad in the local paper. Okay? Like I said, bounty hunters, money. Bounty hunter working for money. It's what they work for. You'd be surprised what you can get accomplished with the almighty dollar. And besides, if someone, you pay somebody, they betray your trust, you disintegrate them, boom. And if you disintegrate them, and if you have to, 2 or 3 generations on either side. Send a message. Do not mess with me. Now, if you are, for some reason, using the hero's lover as a hostage, and they're holding them at a point of imminent doom when confronting the hero, focus on the lover, not on the hero. The hero won't try anything with the lover being held hostage. On the other hand, the fact that the lover has been playing weak, slow-witted, naive, generally, quote, useless up to this point, will have no bearing as to what their actions are going to be at that exact moment. Okay? They're playing possum. Alright? Plan ahead. Expect the unexpected. and you will never be surprised. Okay? Again, like I said, I'm here to inform you. I want you to be the best supervillain you can be. Now, if you want to have some real fun, and you're perhaps good with architectural drawing, which I know a few of you are, here's what you can do. Make several ludicrously erroneous maps to secret passages in your fortress, then hire travelers to entrust them to aged hermits. Okay? And then you take these secret passages and you make them into real traps. And then once every 4 or 5 years, you have to send down your Legion of Doom to, like, I don't know, hose them out, But, hey, it'll be funny. Okay. Do not use hostages as bait in a trap. Don't. Unless you're going to use them for negotiation or as a human shield, there is no point in taking a hostage. Do not use them as a bait in a trap. All right? It never works out. Negotiation, yes. Human shield, most of the time. But unless that's what you're going to use, do not take them. Bait in a trap is pointless. Never works out. 9 times out of 10, it will lead to your own downfall. Also, never, under any circumstances, and I mean ever, 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 times infinity ever, devise any scheme in which Plan A consists of tricking the hero into unwittingly helping you with Part B, consisting of laughing at him while leaving him to his own devices. Don't do it. Never works. You will die. And as I've been saying, you can't rule anything when you're dead. Okay. Here's some of the best one for PR. Okay. Now, I kind of mentioned one previously is don't hold lavish banquets in the middle of a famine. Good PR among guests doesn't make up for the bad PR among the masses. It doesn't work. Okay. But the other thing is funnel some of your ill-gotten gains into urban renewal projects. Although slums add a quaint and picturesque quality to any city, they all too often contain unexpected allies for heroes. Okay? Now, take some of your ill-gotten gains and build up your cities. Build up the infrastructure. Make it nice. Put it into it, make sure that the children are taken care of. Give them an education. There's nothing wrong with them having an education. Somebody's got to be able to, know how to use the stuff that you've got built. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with, tradesmen, craftspeople. There's nothing wrong with that. Slums breed contempt and disease. You don't need that. You got enough problems to deal with. Okay. Finally, for the final one for tonight, biggest cliche ever. Okay? Never tell the hero, yes, I was the one who did it, but you'll never be able to prove it to that incompetent old fool. 100% chance that the incompetent old fool is standing behind a curtain. Just never admit to anything. Deny everything and demand proof. I didn't do it. Nobody saw me do it. You can't prove anything. And if all else fails, remember this. Law. Get a law degree. Learn the law. Know it. Learn it. Love it. Okay? Anyway. It is coming up on that magical hour where it is time to let you all go back to having fun, destroying all. It has been fun and absolutely a great time hanging out with you today. I look forward to seeing you all on Monday, where I hope to have some fresh new takes on some things, and we'll probably be doing some story time on Monday. I'm not sure if we'll be doing Supervillain, but we may be doing some story time. Alrighty. As always, if you guys like what you hear, be sure to give a like and give a follow. Come on back on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And if you don't want to catch me here on Twitch, this goes right up afterwards onto YouTube, and come on over there. You can always discuss what you hear, and I'm always up for new suggestions on how to improve on the supervillainy. Anyway, it's been an absolute pleasure visiting with all of you today, and I hope to hear from you again sometime soon. And thanks for hanging out with me, even if it's just me talking to myself. It helps with everything that's going on. You guys have yourself a good night. Take care. Peace out.